Greetings and salutations. I'm really glad you're all here today. In a recent video, I juxtaposed the difference between the big bucket of falsehood that the world offers us versus the tiny cup of truth. In our human nature, in our ego, we're drawn to the big bucket. The big bucket of lies, the big bucket of toys, earthly gratifications, empty pleasures. People gravitate to the big bucket. The tiny cup of truth, which contains true love and all good things, gets lost in the mix. People spend their lives chasing after the big bucket. And I want to get into detail today. I want to illustrate what is the difference between the big bucket of worldly bullshit, pardon the alliteration, but everything wrong with our world has to do with us chasing the big bucket. Everything wrong with our world has to do with us not embracing the tiny cup. Okay, so what's in the big bucket anyway? What's in the big bucket? Okay, what are we being offered? Okay, well, we're being offered prosperity. We hear about these prosperity preachers. What they're really preaching is sell your soul and you'll have prosperity. Okay, they've done it and they want you to do it too. But it's not a good idea. I think we understand that. So you get prosperity. What's prosperity? Well, you get homes, you can have cars, you can have the bling, the jewelry, the fancy clothes, empty gratification. All right. So in other words, you're getting a high social status. And this isn't just the fame and fortune of Hollywood. It can just be a level of fame and fortune that is ahead of your family members and your friends. To the ego, that's good enough. If you're ahead of the people that you're competing with, if you can diminish them with your prosperity, with your status, the ego will see that as good enough. People aren't selling out for the big-time Hollywood status. People are selling their souls just to have a better house than their brother or their sister has. People are selling their souls just to have a fancier car, or maybe two cars to the other person's one, maybe the racing motorcycle, maybe the pretty girlfriend, whatever it is. People are selling out pretty cheap these days, and I want them to know what exactly it is that they're selling. Okay, so you get all these three things. What else do you get when you take the big bucket? Well, you get access. You get a special kind of access. If you have fame and fortune, Donald Trump has expressed this. He said, with his level of fame and fortune, you can control the opposite sex. You have access to control and manipulate members of the opposite sex. You can just do whatever you want. They throw themselves at you. Now, he enjoys that very much, and I think 85% of the population likes that idea, and 85% of the people that go for the big bucket, that might be, especially for men, I don't know, women too probably, but for men, the ability to control and manipulate the opposite sex, that is huge. That is huge. A lot of men, the reason they want the cars, the bikes, the houses is simply for that simple thing. They could still find a woman and get married, but no, they're going to sell out their soul because they want their wife to look a little bit better than their brother's wife or their friend's wife, or the guy who has no wife, rub it in his face a little bit more. It's all about comparison. The ego is all about comparison. So the big bucket, this is what the big bucket is all about. Now bear in mind, the difference between, one of the biggest differences between the big bucket and the small cup, the big bucket is external, okay? You don't have a car inside of you. It's something you own. It's something you buy and sell. If you've got a fake marriage, it's outside of you, it's not inside of you. All of these things are external, and that's why we can't take them with us when we go. We've all heard the expression, well, you can make all the money you want, but you can't take it with you when you leave. And that's true, and that's what the expression means. Okay, so none of the things in the big bucket we can take with us when we go. The tiny cup is the exact opposite. Okay, let's look at the tiny cup. Okay, the tiny cup is essentially, it's inside of us, and I'll explain how that works. Okay, what's in the tiny cup? Let's look at that. I don't think we've spent enough time looking at what the tiny cup actually is. Okay, what's in the tiny cup? Well, first of all, In the tiny cup we have true love. Now, the ego sees true love as a pipe dream, doesn't mean anything. Yeah, well, if you're a big bucket person, then that's what you can believe. That's fine. True love is in the tiny cup. Genuine compassion, not fake. You know, we've all seen fake compassion. True love is in the tiny cup. True and genuine kindness is in the tiny cup. The good things you do when nobody else is looking. The good things you do when you got nothing to gain and everything to lose. That's what's in the tiny cup. Okay? Honor is in the tiny cup. Okay? If you're a man, if you have honor, everything else you have is real. If you don't have honor, everything you have is fake. Nothing can be lower than a man without honor. Okay? Honor is in the tiny cup. Integrity is in the tiny cup. You are exactly what you claim to be. And you're not going to change. That's integrity. That's in the tiny cup. Are you starting to get the idea how the tiny cup actually lives inside of our hearts? Okay? Because the tiny cup lives inside of our hearts, when we leave this world and we're standing naked before God, the tiny cup is still with us. We get to keep everything that's in the tiny cup. We keep it forever. The big bucket is here today and gone tomorrow. You really got to get that straight, okay? The tiny cup we have forever, if we have it at all. The big bucket is here today and gone tomorrow. We can only have one or the other. If you're standing before God and you say to Him, well, yes, my Lord, of course I always chose the big bucket in life, but in my heart I was all about the tiny cup. I had the tiny cup too, all right? Who we are as a person is based on the things that we do, the choices that we make. What we're thinking while we make those choices is irrelevant, okay? We choose between the big bucket and the tiny cup. That choice is who we are as a person. You can forget about saying, oh, I chose the big bucket, but I'm actually about something else. No, if you choose the big bucket of crap, that's who you are as a person. So what else is in the tiny cup? Okay, well, we have all heard the expression, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Okay, you can't cherry pick with the truth. Oh, I'll take that part of the truth, but I'll live the lie. No. You choose the tiny cup, you're about the whole truth, all of it. You're a red pill person. Whole truth, nothing but the truth, all the time. That's who you are, that's what you're about. Now that doesn't mean you're unkind, you know. You don't have to tell someone, hey, you look terrible or whatever else. But you know what the truth is and you live the truth. You are the truth, you are the whole truth. Now here's a word you might not be familiar with. This too is in the tiny cup. The word is beneficence. Beneficence, as in to be beneficent, all right? The world doesn't use the word much because you don't see it much in the world. Okay, what that word means is, it's similar to benevolent. Benevolent is being selfless and kind to others. Beneficent is that, but it takes it a step further. Beneficence is causing a perpetual ripple effect which extends from you outward. So not only does this represent good things you've done, but it takes it a huge step further. Beneficence means you do good unto others in such a way that it causes them to embrace the same perspective on life, thereby doing good unto others themselves, and doing it in such a way that those that receive this also do good unto others, in a way that extends forward thereafter. Beneficent parenting, empowering your children with all good things, in the knowledge that they will in turn do the same for others. Do the same for their children. Have the same integrity you have. Bless their children with that. Their children go out, they bless others, and they bless others, and they bless others, and they bless others. That's beneficence, okay? This is a godly perspective that is in the tiny cup. You put that into your heart and that's what you'll do for the rest of your life. The ripple effect will go out from you, blessing others, and so forth, and so forth, and so forth. That is one of the things in the tiny cup. Another thing in the tiny cup is the knowledge. The knowledge that you yourself are the solution to and not a contributor to the world's problems. So in other words, you yourself are the solution to the world's problems. You are not a contributor to the world's problems. In other words, you are the solution, not the problem. That is worth all things. Just that. And that's one of the things in the tiny cup. What else is in the tiny cup? Wow, these are eternal things of infinite value. What else do we have in there? We got absolute unity. Absolute unity. In other words, you are one with all life. You yourself are one with all life. Your eternal life can never be separated from those you love. Your eternal life can never be separated from those you love. What's that worth to you? Okay? So you get all these good things. You get to keep them forever, and you never lose touch with your loved ones. You never lose touch with all life because you are one with all life, and it goes on forever. A mature person would value all of these things. A mature person would value all of these things, seeing that they're of infinitely greater value than the temporary big bucket of unspeakable bullshit that has contaminated our world with everything that is wrong with it today. Every human being will be faced with the choice. You will, I have been, I may be again. I know everybody gets to choose once. I've talked about that in a recent video, how I was faced with that choice. You've probably been faced with that choice. Perhaps you chose rightfully, wrongfully, but everybody is faced with that choice. Some people see it as an ongoing choice. But really, there's usually one real huge definitive moment in your life when you get faced with this choice. A mature person will choose the tiny cup. Now I mean mature in the esoteric sense of having completed your human experience, alright? You're going to be stuck in this world. The universe is going to bless the wicked and punish the poor, punish the good. Why? Because it's a test, alright? Yes, you can have the bling. Yes, you can have the empty, meaningless stuff. And as long as you're so immature that you're going to choose that, you will be here. You will be reincarnated in this world as many times as you are stupid enough to choose the big bucket. At some point, you'll say, irregardless of the fact that the world loves these big bucket types, I'm choosing the tiny cup because that's the only thing that has any value to me at all as a person. You choose the tiny cup, that goes into your heart, becomes a part of who you are. You can stand naked before God, the tiny cup is there. The tiny cup is yours forever. You can't lose the tiny cup. The big bucket was never yours in the first place. Okay? Why would you want something that's not yours? Why would you want something, why would you buy something in a store and you can never take it out of the store? Would you buy that item if you could never take it out of the store? Well, everything in the big bucket we can never take out of this world. And you're forfeiting all good things by taking the big bucket. Now, if you're somebody who believes we live once and either go to heaven or hell, then you better not take the big bucket, because that's the path to hell, for sure. And you might not get a second chance to choose. You can't have both the big bucket and the tiny cup. It's one or the other, all right? If you believe you got one shot at life and you chose the big bucket, you might be doomed already. But if you can somehow rectify that, then that's what you should spend the rest of your life doing. As for the rest of us, whether you have one lifetime to get it straight or 10 lifetimes to get it straight, you've still got to get it straight. You're not going to accomplish a goddamn thing until you embrace the tiny cup. And that's just how it is. I'm going to speak on this more in additional videos. My name is Scott McGurn, and thank you for your time.